We all know how dangerous fire can be, but what isn't always obvious is how easily a fire can start. An overloaded extension cable, poor housekeeping, a discarded cigarette, combustible material too close to a building that can be set on fire. All of these can easily cause a devastating fire. The fire service attend thousands of fire incidents every year that could have been prevented by putting simple fire safety measures or procedures in place. The best and safest way to deal with a fire is by preventing it from happening in the first place. There are a number of simple things that everyone in your business can do to prevent the outbreak of fire. The first and probably most important of these is to understand what elements need to be in place for a fire to exist. This can be easily explained through the fire triangle. The fire triangle is a simple model for understanding the ingredients necessary for all fires. Fire is a chemical reaction or series of reactions where heat is evolved and needs three things to be present so it can happen. The triangle illustrates the three elements needed: heat, fuel, and oxygen. A fire naturally occurs when all the elements are combined in the right mixture, and fire can be prevented by making sure that these elements are unable to mix. Without sufficient heat, there can be no ignition. Without fuel, there's nothing to burn. And without sufficient oxygen, a fire cannot begin. Knowing the mechanics and elements of fire is essential in eliminating the risk of fire, as well as knowing how to control and extinguish it. Heat, oxygen and fuel are present and can be found all around us. Oxygen exists in the air that we breathe. By simply adding to this a source of heat and some fuel, this completes the fire triangle and a fire or combustion can take place. By putting some simple measures in place, you can eliminate the risk of a fire starting and make a real difference, or even save someone's life. Good housekeeping is an example of one simple measure that you can take on your premises. This goes for everyone in your workplace. It's no use to cleaners making sure that there's no potential fuel around if the managing director or CEO's area of work is considered a fire hazard. Simply making sure bins are emptied regularly, tidying your desk at the end of the day, and keeping fire exits clear can all have a dramatic impact on reducing the risk of fire in your workplace. It is the duty of the responsible person, this can be the owner of the business, occupier of the building, or person in control of the premises, to ensure that you are trained on your first day at work through an induction program that will include familiarization with your means of escape, nearest and alternate escape routes, and fire exits. Training must also be carried out at regular intervals thereafter. Electricity is one of the most common causes of fire. This can be in the form of overloaded extension cables and sockets, poorly maintained equipment, or simply the wrong fuse. Remember, prevention is always better than the cure, so get into a routine, especially at night, and check all your appliances regularly and have them repaired or replaced if they show any signs of wear or damage. If you are unsure of the safety of any electrical items in your place of work, get professional advice from a competent person. Despite your best efforts, it's not always possible to prevent a fire from starting, and that's when you must know how to deal with an outbreak safely. Evacuation. When you are confronted with an outbreak of fire, your first responsibility is to raise the alarm.
Everybody out!
This will immediately alert people in the vicinity that there is a fire. The alarm activation may be via shouting, "Fire! Fire! Fire!" a break glass call point, or it may have already happened via an automatic fire detection system. A procedure must be put into place so that at least one person will have the responsibility for calling the emergency services while the evacuation of your premises is underway. The person chosen for this responsibility should be based on your premises full-time and should be given this role on a permanent basis so that everyone knows who it is and there is no confusion. A deputy or deputies must also be chosen in case of illness or absence. On hearing the alarm, you should leave the building immediately using the nearest available exit. If the fire is situated near an exit, you must be aware of the alternative routes available. Stay calm and remain calm at all times. It is extremely important that everyone involved in an evacuation remains calm at all times so that all personnel can evacuate the premises safely and as quickly as possible. Use the stairs if necessary, not the lift. Never use a lift in an emergency situation. Do not return to collect clothing or personal belongings until you are told to do so by a senior fire officer. Report immediately to the assembly point. All staff should know where your assembly point is. Under no circumstances return until a clear instruction has been given by the fire officer. In your place of work, you must have a sufficient number of competent people, known as fire wardens, to perform evacuation duties, as well as a competent person to ensure that the fire safety systems in your premises are fully functioning. When the evacuation is underway, it may be the responsibility of the fire wardens, if safe to do so, to sweep their allocated areas, turning off equipment, shutting doors and windows, and making sure that people are leaving via the nearest exit. When the building has been swept by the wardens, a roll call will take place at the assembly point. This is for guidance only, and you should always follow your own company's fire policy and fire evacuation plans. Tackling a fire. If we look back at the fire triangle, we will see that in order for a fire to burn, it needs the right mixture or right amount and quantity of the elements of the fire triangle. For fire to be produced, the right combination of fuel, heat and oxygen is required. Producing fire is really quite easy. However, if you remove just one of the elements of the fire triangle or keep them separate, then there would be no fire, or it would easily be controlled and extinguished. Heat can be removed by the application of a substance which reduces the amount of heat and oxygen available to the fire reaction. Heat can be removed or reduced from the fire with a simple application of water to cool. Introducing sufficient quantities and types of powder or gas in the flame reduces the amount of heat available for the fire reaction in the same manner. If you were to imagine a thatched roof on a cottage that was on fire, then the only way to extinguish the fire in the thatch is to remove some of the fuel, i.e. take half of the fuel away and allow the other half to burn itself out to a stop. By removing the oxygen from a fire, it cannot continue. This is what happens during the use of a CO2 fire extinguisher. Fire extinguishers are by far the most common method of tackling a fire, but you must be able to recognise the correct fire extinguisher for the type of fire, because using the wrong type of extinguisher can make a fire situation worse. Water. Water-filled fire extinguishers are solid signal red in colour and are only suitable for Class A fires. These are fires involving organic solid materials such as wood, cloth, paper, plastics, coal, etc. Do not use on burning fat or oil or on live electrical appliances. To use a water extinguisher, pull the safety tag to break the seal. Pull out the safety pin. Hold the handle and the discharge tube. Test the extinguisher to check if it works. Then direct it at the base of the flames and keep it moving across the area of the fire until all the flames are out. Carbon dioxide or CO2. Carbon dioxide or CO2 extinguishers are signal red with a black panel. They are suitable for use on Class B fires and those involving electrical equipment. To use a CO2 extinguisher, position the discharge horn, as it will be too cold to do so when the extinguisher is being used. Pull the safety tag to break the seal. Pull out the safety pin. Hold the handle and the body of the extinguisher. Test the extinguisher to check if it works. Point the horn at the base of the flames and whilst discharging the extinguisher, walk toward the flames in order to put them out. When the flames are out, walk back away from the fire while still discharging the extinguisher. Foam. Foam extinguishers are painted signal red with a cream panel. Foam fire extinguishers are suitable for use on Class A fires like paper and wood, and Class B fires involving flammable liquids. To use a foam extinguisher, pull the safety tag to break the seal, pull out the safety pin, hold the handle and the discharge tube. Test the extinguisher to check if it works. With a foam extinguisher, you do not aim at the base of the fire. You aim at the back edge of the fire and allow the foam to form a blanket over the fire. Powder. Dry powder extinguishers are signal red in colour with a blue panel. These extinguishers are suitable for use on Class A, B and C fires and is also suitable for electrical fires, making them a good all-round extinguisher. To use a dry powder extinguisher, pull the safety tag to break the seal. Pull out the safety pin. Hold the handle and the discharge tube, if there is one. Test the extinguisher to check if it works. Point the jet or discharge horn at the base of the flames and with a rapid sweeping motion drive the fire towards the far edge until all the flames are out. Hopefully you'll now have a good idea of the damage and devastation that fire can cause and the best ways to prevent it. Thanks for watching.
If a fire breaks out, you may be tempted to grab the nearest portable fire extinguisher to try and put it out. But before you do, make sure you know the following. Are you certain the fire is not too large to be put out with a portable fire extinguisher? Is the extinguisher you have the right type for that fire, or the right size? And what is the proper sequence of steps to take when using a portable fire extinguisher? Unless you know the answer to all of these questions, you should not attempt to extinguish a fire. Otherwise, your actions could result in extensive property damage as well as personal injury or even death. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, regulates portable fire extinguisher use in the workplace. While fire extinguishers are addressed in many different sections of the OSHA regulations, the primary OSHA standards regarding fire extinguishers in construction are found in 1926.150, and the primary standards for general industry are found in 1910.157. When portable fire extinguishers are provided for employee use in the workplace, OSHA requires employers to provide their employees with an educational program covering the principles of fire extinguisher use. Employees must also be provided with information about the hazards associated with incipient or early stage firefighting. In addition, actual hands-on training in the use of fire extinguishers must be provided to those employees designated to use an extinguisher as part of their job, such as fire brigade members and fire watches. This tutorial covers considerations for selecting the proper fire extinguisher for the type of fire you are facing. It also explains the acronym PASS, which can help you remember the 4 sequential steps to operate a portable extinguisher. And we also discuss some do's and don'ts to remember any time you use a portable fire extinguisher. The first rule to remember is that portable fire extinguishers are not intended to be used for fighting large fires. They are intended only for use on what are known as incipient stage fires. Those are defined as a fire that is in its initial or beginning stage, can be handled safely with the portable extinguisher, and does not require the use of special personal protective equipment such as bunker gear or a respirator. When faced with a large fire, immediately evacuate the area and alert others. You should also evacuate the area any time you are not comfortable with using an extinguisher. There are many different types of portable fire extinguishers, and using the wrong kind on a fire means you may not be able to extinguish it safely and effectively. For example, most everyone knows that oil and water don't mix, and that is the reason you would not want to use an extinguisher that sprays water on burning liquids. That can actually make the flame spread. Some fire extinguishers are intended for use on a single type or class of fire material, while others are designed for use on a combination of two or more classes of fires. Just check the label on your extinguishers to know which type or types of fire they are intended to extinguish. Class A rated fire extinguishers will be marked with symbols similar to those pictured here. These extinguishers are suitable to use on ordinary combustible materials such as wood, paper or cardboard, dry vegetation, and some plastics. Basically, most anything that leaves an ash after it burns is a Class A fire material. Class A fire extinguishers often contain water that is sprayed on the fire. So again, as a reminder, do not use water to extinguish a flammable liquid fire, nor do you want to use water to extinguish an electrical fire for obvious reasons. Class B rated fire extinguishers will be marked with symbols similar to those pictured here. These extinguishers are suitable for use on fires involving flammable liquids such as gasoline and diesel, solvents, and oil or grease. CO2 extinguishers, which contain gaseous carbon dioxide, displace oxygen so the fire cannot continue to burn. These extinguishers are often used on Class B fire materials. While they are effective, the CO2 can displace the oxygen inside of a small enclosed space, so only use these extinguishers where there is plenty of natural ventilation. Also, the horn-shaped nozzle where the gas is discharged can become extremely cold enough to cause frostbite, in fact. So use caution when handling one of these type extinguishers. A Class C rating, signified by symbols like those pictured here, mean the fire extinguisher can be used on a fire near or involving energized electrical equipment. This designation is typically seen on combination type fire extinguishers that are suitable for use on other types of fire too. Class D rated fire extinguishers will be marked with symbols similar to those pictured here. These extinguishers are intended to be used on fires involving combustible metals that actually burn, such as magnesium, sodium, or potassium. Class K fire extinguishers, which are the newest type on the market, are marked with symbols similar to those pictured here. These specialty extinguishers are designed for use on kitchen fires, specifically those involving deep fryers which contain animal-based oils or fat, as well as vegetable oils. Some fire extinguishers are rated for use on only one class of fire material, such as A, or B, or D. However, most extinguishers are designed for use on two or more classes of fire material. For example, this foam extinguisher is rated for use on fires involving Class A and B fire materials, while this CO2 extinguisher is suitable for use on Class B and C fires. But the most prevalent type extinguisher found in most workplaces are combination ABC extinguishers. These commonly contain a dry powder that smother out a fire, much like you would with a blanket, and can be used to extinguish fires involving ordinary combustible materials, flammable liquids, and electrical equipment. So, check the labels of your portable fire extinguishers in your workplace so you will know what type or types of fire they are rated to extinguish. One more thing to consider when you use a portable fire extinguisher is its size. A relatively small portable fire extinguisher, like this dry chemical extinguisher designated as a 5 ABC, will only last about 6 to 10 seconds before empty. A larger extinguisher, like a 20 ABC, will last somewhere around 25 to 35 seconds before it is emptied. While that is certainly a longer time, most people are surprised at how fast even a large fire extinguisher can be completely emptied. There are 4 basic steps to use most portable fire extinguishers. However, people often panic when they see a fire and forget exactly what to do. To help you remember the 4 basic steps of fire extinguisher use, just remember PASS, or PASS. The P stands for pull the pin. Stand several feet back from the fire while holding the extinguisher in one hand, and then insert your finger into the round end of the retainer pin and firmly pull. And don't worry, the thin plastic band that holds the retainer pin in place on most extinguishers will break relatively easy. The second step is to aim the nozzle or discharge hose at the base of the fire. The idea is to apply the fire extinguishing media towards the material that is burning and not at the flames that may be leaping up high. Step 3 is to squeeze the handle to discharge the fire extinguisher. If you let go of the handle, the discharge will stop, and if you squeeze it again, it will resume. The fourth and final step is to sweep from side to side as you slowly approach the fire. This allows you to cover all of the burning material and not just that located at the center of the fire. In review, the 4 steps of the PASS method are: pull the pin out of the handle, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep from side to side. Here are some important things to keep in mind in case you are going to try and extinguish a fire. The first is to never get yourself in a position where you could be trapped should the fire spread. Always maintain a clear path away to the nearest exit or other safe area and evacuate immediately if the flames, heat, or smoke seem to be getting out of control. And once you have extinguished the fire, keep an eye out for flare-ups. Sometimes the fire continues to smolder beneath the burnt debris, and it is not uncommon for a fire to reignite several minutes later. Fire extinguishing media, such as water or foam, can collect on the floor around a fire and cause you to slip, as can ash or liquids from containers that might have burst during a fire. So don't run, just walk in a controlled manner so you don't slip and fall. Also keep an eye out for any boxes, pallets, or other materials that are placed on shelves or stacked near the fire area, as they could become unstable from fire damage and fall over on you. And always turn in any extinguisher that has had its pin pulled out of the handle to be checked. Even if you did not squeeze the handle, you may have broken the internal seal that maintains the pressure inside of the extinguisher. So play it safe and get it checked out. So in review, take some time to familiarize yourself with the types and sizes of portable fire extinguishers around your workplace, as well as any you may have at home or in your vehicles. And if you do discover a fire and are going to try to extinguish it, notify someone else about the fire, and then remember PASS: pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. These are the 4 basic steps to use a portable fire extinguisher. Also, keep in mind the importance of maintaining awareness of your surroundings so you don't become trapped or injured while attempting to extinguish a fire. Finally, Never attempt to use a fire extinguisher if you are not comfortable doing so. Instead, you should evacuate immediately and go to a safe area in accordance with your organization's emergency action plan. If you have any questions at all about the use of a portable fire extinguisher, please talk to your safety representative or supervisor at work. You can also contact the safety professionals at OSHA Training Services.
It's a normal day. You're stuck in class when suddenly the fire alarm goes off. Do you know what to do? Of course you do. First, alert everyone. This is normally done by shouting or by pressing the fire alarm. Step 2, evacuation, or hightailing it out of there in an orderly manner by using the shortest and safest possible way indicated in the evacuation route. When it comes to these kind of situations, knowing your way out is definitely handy. Step 3, make sure to call the proper authorities, especially the local fire department, so that they can rush to the scene as soon as they can. And step 4, do not let anyone go back in the classroom or even inside the building. But wait, what if the fire is accessible and it's not too big yet? Then you can probably suppress it using a fire extinguisher. Get one in any of the fire cabinets located within the building. Check the pressure if it's still okay. Rush over the scene and maintain at least 2 meters away from the blaze. All you need to remember is PASS. Pass. Pull the pin. Aim at the base of the fire. Squeeze the lever. Sweep from side to side. And bam! Fire's out. What about if it happened outside? You just have to pay attention to the wind direction. Whatever you do, do not go against the wind. Perform pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. As easy as that.
Code Reading Level 4, Nursing Station 2.
Attention please. Code Red, Level 4, Nursing Station 2. Code Red, Level 4, Nursing Station 2. Code Red, Level 4, Nursing Station 2. Thank you.
This chair is an example of a fuel-controlled fire. Note the 4 stages of fire: ignition, growth, full development, and decay.